Yo, what's going on, guys? Today I'm going to be bringing you another showdown video. We do have a showdown slate for Thursday Night Football. Got a game between the Colts and the Patriots. I'm going to do like I do in all my showdown videos, just sort of talk about this game, talk about the plays that I like, maybe go over some roster construction, how we can construct our lineups, maybe the roster construction for these showdown slates that's like the most optimal, that makes the most sense, that maybe you would play in like a cash game or something. And then we'll talk about sort of tournament strategy, how you can build your roster for tournaments to maybe get away from what everybody else is going to do. I'll talk about some of my favorite maybe under-the-radar plays, and then maybe guys that I just think you should be locking into your lineups, whether they're going to be high-owned or not. But before we do get started, guys, I would appreciate it if you would drop a like on the video. It definitely does mean a lot. If you are new to the channel, if this is your first time checking out a video on my channel, thank you so much for clicking on the video. I do really appreciate it. Make sure you hit that subscribe button down below so that way you won't miss out on any of my videos. And also, if you trigger the bell, if you hit that bell icon that's next to the subscribe button, that will notify you, send you a notification every time that I upload, so that way you won't miss out on any of my new videos. You can do that as well. I would appreciate it. But yeah, let's go ahead and talk about this game, talk about this showdown slate. This game between the Patriots and the Colts right now has a 51.5 total. The Colts are 10-point underdogs, 10.5-point underdogs. So the Patriots are 10.5-point favorites at home. This is a good spot for the Patriots. They're going to put up points here. The Colts defense, it's been improving. It's not like the trash defense that it used to be, but it's still not that great of a defense. I think this is a good spot for the Patriots to really just put up points. Love Tom Brady here. Tom Brady is definitely like a guy that I'm going to be playing on this showdown slate. I know he's going to be popular. I'll probably play him in captain in a lot of lineups. It's just a good spot for Brady. He's at home. Only thing that concerns me is it is a short week for both of these teams. So maybe being a short week, we don't see as many points as we would want to. But I still think Brady can come out here and really just put up a solid outing. Hasn't been great this year. He hasn't really shown, Brady upside 300 yards, multiple touchdowns. Really hasn't done that at all this year. His best game was week 1 against Houston, where he went for 277 yards and 3 touchdowns, 22 DraftKings points. Just did miss the 300-yard bonus. Obviously, that's very key on DraftKings, hitting that 300-yard bonus. So if Brady goes for 300 yards, and 3 touchdowns here, could easily get 25, close to 30 DK points. Definitely could be the highest scoring player overall on this slate. So locking in Brady, I think, makes a lot of sense. I feel like we are going to have a lot of value from the Colts side because T.Y. Hilton, their best receiver, their go-to receiver, is questionable for this game, and it doesn't look like he's going to play. I don't think he's practiced all week. I'm recording this Wednesday early on in the morning, so we don't know if he's practicing Wednesday. But if Hilton does not practice Wednesday, there's a pretty good chance he's not going to be able to play for this game on Thursday. Same goes with Gronkowski. We don't know if Gronk's going to play. Josh Gordon is questionable as well. So there could be some value plays we look to. I think obviously the Colts are where we really want to look for value. If T.Y. Hilton is not able to play, you got some good value from their receivers. Nyheim Hines at 6,600 I think is one of the better values here. If T.Y. Hilton is unable to play, even if T.Y. Hilton does play, I'll probably still have some Hines exposure because the guy got a ton of targets. He is a running back, but they really use him in the passing game. Last week against Houston, he got 11 targets, 9 catches for 63 yards and 2 touchdowns. I expect the Colts to be trailing in this game. I expect them to have to throw the ball. So Hines is going to be a guy that they really look to, that I feel like Andrew Luck's going to look to. He still will get some carries as well. But he's really involved in the passing game, and I think that's what they're going to need him, or that's where they're going to need him in this game. Probably going to be trailing, 10-point underdogs. I expect them to have to throw. So I like Hines at 6,600 as a value. You got Ebron at 6,400, I think is a value play as well. But the guy that I like for value is Chester Rogers, another cheap play we can't consider. He's only 6K. Should see a lot of targets here if T.Y. Hilton is unable to play. He got in week 4 against Houston, he got 11 targets, 8 catches, and got 85 yards in that game. I expect Chester Rogers to get at least 8 or 9 targets as long as T.Y. Hilton is out. So he's one of the better values you can find as well from the Colts side. You also got Ryan Grant from the Colts side as well, who could be a value play. He got 7 targets last week for 64 yards, 5 catches for 64 yards. Another guy you could look to. Pretty much this Colts passing game is going to be, or those are going to be the guys that I look to if I'm trying to find cheap plays. So like if I want to play, maybe if Gronk's able to play, and I want to stack Brady with Gronk, I'm probably going to have to look to the Colts cheap receivers as in order to do that. Because let's see if we just plug in Gronk in the flex, that puts us at 7,300. We probably have to play like the defense. I do like the Patriots defense, or even Philip Dorsett maybe at 3,600. These are like punt plays I think are playable. This is a revenge game for Dorsett. Julian Edelman is back for this game, though. It will be interesting to see how the Patriots involve him. With Julian Edelman back, I expect him to take some targets away from guys like Dorsett, guys like Chris Hogan. Maybe even Gronk sees fewer targets if he's able to play. But yeah, Edelman's off suspension. He's going to be playing for this game in Week 5 against the Colts. He's 7,400. I don't think I'm going to be playing Edelman this week because I don't really know how involved he's going to be. I think I'd rather just like play like Sony Michel, who I think is also another good play this week. If you want to play Michel at 7,200, I think he makes a ton of sense. He got 25 carries last week against the Dolphins, 112 yards and a touchdown. I expect Michel to get plenty of carries here. The Patriots are most likely going to be up during this game. They're most likely going to be running the ball late in the game, especially in the second half. As long as Rex Burkhead is out, Michel's going to be the guy they look to for carries. James White's going to be very involved in the passing game. He is also a good play. He'll get some carries too. But if they're going to be up, if the Patriots are going to be up like 2 touchdowns in the second half, then I want Michel because he's going to be the guy they look to when they need someone to really run the ball and kind of waste the clock. So you could probably plug in Sony Michel into this lineup, but then you'd have to like really go cheap at captain, or you'd have to play a guy like Rodgers in your captain spot. If you want to play Brady at captain, it gets really thin. You're only left with 6,100 remaining per player. But let's just say we plug in those cheap Colts receivers, go to Rodgers, go to Hines, maybe play the defense, the Patriots defense, or a kicker. If you play the defense and the kicker, kind of limits your upside, but that leaves you with 10-5. So you could stack Brady with Gronk. You're really limiting your upside. I don't know if I would do this in tournaments, but in cash games, that's probably a good way to go in cash games because you're getting pretty high floors from the Patriots D. I think the Patriots D might even have a little bit of a ceiling here against Luck, especially on the road. We know Luck will definitely take sacks. He's a good quarterback. He won't throw a ton of picks, but this Patriots defense at home, getting the Colts on a short week, I think at 4K, they're probably a good value. The kickers are always playable for me. Gostkowski, Vinatieri, I think are both cheap options you can consider, especially for cash games. Dorsett probably is the best like tournament play as if you're looking for a punt, just because it's a revenge game. He's still involved in the passing game. He's not going to get a ton of targets since Edelman's back, but the last few weeks he's been getting 5 to 7 targets a game. 7, 7, 5, 7 are his target totals through 4 weeks. 19, 9, 0, and 15 DraftKings points. Dorsett goes for 5 catches, 50 yards, and finds the end zone. That's 16 points, 16 DraftKings points right there, and could definitely be one of the better values on this slate. So I do actually like Dorsett, especially in tournaments if you're looking for a cheap play that definitely has upside. Maybe that has more upside than a defense, has more upside than a kicker. I think Dorsett's probably your guy. But he's probably like the cheapest guy that I would consider. I don't love like these 2K plays. Just none of them really interest me. Like Marlon Mack, I don't know if he's really been involved. He had 10 carries in week 2, but he hasn't played since then, it looks like. Maybe if Mack is able to play today, or able to play on Thursday, 2,200, if he gets 10, 15 carries at 2,200, maybe if he finds the end zone, he could be one of the better values, but we are going to have to wait and see if he's going to be able to play. So right now, I feel like the way I'm going to probably be constructing my lineups is definitely jam in Brady, maybe try and pair him with a pass catcher like Gronk, maybe James White, maybe Dorsett in some lineups. Get some exposure to the Colts side as well, especially their passing game. Hines is a good pass-catching running back. I like Ebrod, I mentioned. Rodgers, I mentioned. Guys like Chris Hogan, Dorsett, I think you can sprinkle in. Chris Hogan, though, has just not been good. Even with Edelman suspended, Hogan really hasn't been getting the targets, just 5, 5, 4, and 1 target. Hasn't really done much for fantasy. I'm sure because this is how DFS is, the game that Julian Edelman comes back is the game that Chris Hogan will explode. Most likely probably going to happen, but I'll probably be avoiding Hogan on this slate, even though he's really cheap. I'd rather get up to Rodgers or just like go down to a guy like Dorsett, who is $1,200 cheaper. So you can kind of see the way I'm constructing my lineups. For tournaments or for cash games, I think you probably like jam in Brady and your captain. Then you play like maybe a pass catching guy with him, whether it's Gronk, whether it's White. If you want to play Josh Gordon, if he's able to go, I think I'll be avoiding Edelman, but probably Josh Gordon or White Gronk you could pair with Brady. Then you look for some of those cheap Colts receivers, maybe play a defense. That's kind of how I'd probably play a cash lineup. In tournaments, I like to get a little different. Maybe don't play Brady in your captains. You can still have exposure to Brady. You can still play him in some lineups. But I wouldn't play him in captain in tournaments because that really thins you out. You're probably going to be forced to play a defense, and I usually don't like playing defense or kickers in tournaments. I usually especially don't like playing both. I'm fine playing at least one, but usually don't like to play both. So if we want to go a little different at captain, maybe we play a guy like Sony Michel, especially if you think maybe Michel gets up or gets a lot of the carries, scores the touchdowns. If the Patriots get up 3 touchdowns and Michel has scored 2 of those 3 touchdowns, they could just hand him the ball a ton. So if you played a guy like Michel in the captain, obviously if Michel has a monster game, there's a good chance that Brady maybe underperforms. So if we play Michel, then we fade Brady. We could probably go to Luck, who is probably going to have to throw the ball a ton in this game. Pair him with a guy like Hines or Ebron, whoever. If T.Y. Hilton's able to play, you could pair Luck with Hilton. I don't mind that. You could still look to the pass catchers too from the Patriots. Maybe a guy like Gronk. If you want to go to Gronk, you could play him at 9,800. That still leaves you 6K. Then you could probably play a guy like Rodgers. You could play Ebron if you want to. Hines, that gives you 6,600. Then you could go maybe down to Dorsett and upgrade one of these spots if you wanted to do that. There's a probably good chance we could play both quarterbacks if we did this. So if we went Luck and Brady, that'd leave us 2,200 if we played Rodgers and Hines. Then you could maybe play Marlon Mack if he's able to play. Let's see if we take these out, what we can do. See if we can get a pass-catching receiver. If we can get at least one. We can get Rodgers at 6K. Maybe we can play the defense. I don't love playing the defense in tournaments, but if we put it in the Pats D, or let's put it in Dorsett, see if we went with Dorsett. That leaves us 5,200. You could go to Chris Hogan if you wanted to do that. So I actually kind of wouldn't mind that strategy, going maybe playing one of the running backs, a guy like Michel, playing him in captain. Then you could play both quarterbacks because obviously both quarterbacks have a ceiling. Michel probably has a 20-point, 25-point ceiling as well. That's sort of the way you can construct your lineups for one of these big field tournaments like this one, the 1.25 Thursday Night Showdown with $10 entry. 147,000 people in it. You're definitely going to want to get a contrarian lineup if you want to take this thing down, if you want to at least have a chance at first place. So fading Brady, or at least not playing him in captain, I think is a way you can go in tournaments. But yeah, guys, I think that's pretty much it for this Showdown slate. Hopefully I really covered it all for you guys, talked about the game, talked about how I feel like I'm going to construct my lineup, some of the guys I'm going to be heavy on. Hopefully this video helped you, and hopefully you did enjoy. If you did enjoy, make sure you click that like button. I appreciate it. Make sure you do subscribe as well before you get out of here. I would really appreciate that as well. And if you do have any questions, you can always hit me up on Twitter at the DFS_GOAT, or feel free to leave a comment down below, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for watching. I do really appreciate it, and good luck on Thursday's Showdown slate. Peace.